Record. Great. Awesome. So to get started, I am going to go ahead and introduce Hillary, who we have with us today. She is the Assistant Director of Delaware Hillel, and she also has with her Lauren, who is a student at Delaware, and they're going to be sharing a little bit about the school and Hillel. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. Hillary, go for it.
Great. Thank you so much, Diana. So as Diana said, my name is Hillary Jampel. I am the assistant director at the University of Delaware Hillel. I'm also an alum of UD, so I graduated in 2009, and I am so excited to be meeting with you all. We're going to talk a little bit, as Diana said, I'm going to give a little bit of an overview about Jewish life at Delaware. Then Lauren's going to get to share things, which I think is most exciting from the student perspective. And then we're going to close out before we have question and answer with a little bit more info, generally about the university. As Diana said, though, we want to hear your questions about Jewish life, about the university, whatever it may be. So feel free to put them in the chat box at any time, and we will get to them. So University of Delaware. So people ask me all the time, the first question is, so how many Jewish students are there actually at the University of Delaware? We have approximately 2,250 Jewish students at UD. We asked students, actually, we didn't want to say, here's what the community is like. And so we asked students, we said, how would you describe UD? And how would you describe Hillel? And they described it as a welcoming Jewish community. The breakdown of Jewish students is approximately a third of the Jewish students identify as culturally Jewish, about a third identify as Reform, and about a third identify as conservative Jews, and that's our breakdown. So we're going to go through a few different pieces. We're going to talk a little bit specifically about freshman programming, as I know you guys are thinking about school, and that would be your first impression. Then we're going to talk through social justice, Israel, Shabbat and holidays, internships and leaderships, and that students describe us as a home away from home, and what does that actually mean? So freshman programming, many students start with their first day on campus through Hillel. So we have a program called Freshman Fest, and it's an early move-in program where you can move into UD 2 days early, and it's just for Jewish freshmen, and it is completely run by upperclassmen. Everything that we do at Hillel is really student-driven and student empowerment focused. So we have an executive board of 5 upperclassmen who run Freshman Fest, and then 50 leaders. Lauren's actually one of our leaders this year, and they are taking you through all different activities, helping to welcome you to the university. We have tours by major where upperclassmen in your major are going to sit down with you and say, okay, take this professor, don't take this professor. Here's what you really need to know. And it's an amazing way. Students tell us all the time that it was the best decision that they made during their 4 years. We also have a program called Impact, which is a fellowship exclusively for freshmen that takes place over the course of your first semester. It's done in small groups, and it really helps you to adjust to college. So it's everything from time management to how do you make Delaware a home, and what does that even mean, to what does it look like to study for finals when you're in college? And then the final thing is we have staff and students who are excited to take you out for coffee, to learn about you, your story, and see how it is that we can connect with you. So the next piece I'm going to talk a little bit about is social justice. And I'm actually going to start off by sharing a quick video that is from our Challah for Hunger chapter.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Osmond. Call for Hunger is a national organization that raises money for food insecurity through baking challahs and selling them to your local community. We get together like once or twice a week and we bake and prep dough. Half of the proceeds we raise stay here in Delaware, and half of the proceeds go to fight food insecurity internationally. I think it's a great organization, and I like their mission and how they're trying to help college students. I really just like to bake, and it's really cool to be able to come here and use a whole bunch of other people and create different things for Hollow. I love Hollow for Hunger because it really brings together not just the Jewish community, but other communities around us, and everyone kind of comes together for a common cause. Go Hollow for Hunger!
So that is just one of our organizations that we have. They are focused around food insecurity. Howl for Hunger is a national organization, which is exciting. Another piece is the Matzo Ball Soup Hotline, which Lauren actually helps to co-lead. And it is when a student is not feeling well, you, your parents, your friends can submit a form, and students actually make matzo ball soup at Hillel and will deliver it to you in your dorm if you're not feeling well. And then we also have U-Dance. If you come to UD, you are going to be involved with U-Dance. U-Dance is the university's largest philanthropy. It is our dance marathon. It's the 5th largest dance marathon, I believe, in the country, to raise money to fight pediatric cancer. And so every year, the past few years, we've actually raised as a UD community over $2 million, which is incredible. And we as Hillel get involved. We have a U-Dance Shabbat. We're invited to U-Dance. We actually do a challah French toast pop-up. So all different things in order to help get involved. Israel is a big piece of what we do at UD Hillel. So we actually have one of the largest birthright trips in the country. This winter, we were the #1. We sent 3 full buses of students. Almost 100 UD students went to Israel on 2 different types of trips. So the first being a classic birthright experience. And then the second is we are the only school in the country that has a study abroad trip where you can actually go, instead of for 10 days, you go to Israel for 15 days. You get the classic birthright experience plus more. It's food, wine, and culture based, and you actually earn 3 credits for going for about $250, which is incredible. And it's something that we're really excited about and an unbelievable way to see Israel. Blue Hens for Israel is our pro-Israel group on campus. They host Israel Fest every year, which it usually has about 300 students that come. It's an incredible celebration of Israel on campus. It's out at one of our student centers. There's free falafel, there's henna, and it's just a blast. And we also have other ways to get to Israel. So once you've gone on Birthright, we have a perspectives trip that is actually an interfaith trip that we take students who are Jewish and mainly non-Jewish to Israel once a year. And then also you can go back to Israel to do an 8-week internship on Onward Israel. So Shabbat and holidays are obviously a big part of Jewish life, and we have that at Hillel. We do not charge for any of our meals. So everything is included. We don't charge actually for anything outside of special programming like Freshman Fest. And Shabbat is free. It is a home cooked meal every week. Some weeks we have Shabbat across campus where actually we give students money in order to host their friends and host Shabbat on their terms. And in terms of holidays, both Shabbat and holidays, we have services, Reform and Conservative services. We have a full-time rabbi and senior Jewish educator on staff, Rabbi Nick, who helps to lead services, students lead services, and he'll also lead Jewish learning on a regular basis. We have over 100 interns and student leaders every single year, which is incredible. Some students are actually able to get class credit through a partnership that we have with the university. And then we have 4 different registered student organizations. So different opportunities to take all sorts of leadership skills. And what we always say to students is, if the opportunity isn't there, please let us know and we'll help you make it. This summer, we actually have 13 interns who have created different internships and are doing all different types of things to build their resume, gain professional experience as well. And then students will tell us all the time that Hill is a home away from home. So we are open. We are right off campus. Literally on either side of us is campus, which is incredible. We have free coffee, free snacks, free printing, which is a huge deal once you're a student at UD. We have a hangout space, and it is just a great opportunity. There's always going to be friends when you come there. And it's just a place that you can come and feel more comfortable. So I'm going to, with that, I am guessing that people have questions. And we will, I saw Lauren answered one. If people have other questions, please feel free to keep putting them in the chat box. But I'm actually going to turn things over to Lauren now so that she can give you a little bit of an overview, and then we'll stop and answer some more questions.
Okay, so all that info I know Hillary just threw at you, but it's all so amazing and something that you definitely will experience if you end up at UD, which I hope you do, especially with Hillel. I'm Lauren, like Hillary said. I'm an incoming junior, and I'm a cognitive science major, pre-speech pathology, and I have minors in human development and family studies, Spanish, and disability studies. And outside of Hillel, I'm involved in Greek life. I'm in Tri Delta, and I do Best Buddies. I'm an alumni ambassador where I get to talk a lot to alumni of the university and really keep that involved. I do UDAB, Alternative Community Service breaks over spring break, and I also studied abroad this past winter. But with Jewish Life, Hillel holds a big part of my life on campus. Like she said earlier, I co-led the Matzo Ball Soup Hotline, which is really what got me involved in Hillel, because I don't tell my mom she was right, but I didn't do Freshman Fest, even though she told me I should have. And I really wish I did, because I saw how much of an awesome opportunity it was for people really getting to move in early that weekend. And so this year is my first year being a Freshman Fest leader, and I am so excited. Hopefully I'll see some of you there one day. And with that, leading the Matzo Ball Soup Hotline, it started to help me get much more involved in Hillel and really realize that it is like I said, that building is very magical. It's an old house, so it's very built like a very comfortable environment. There are couches, people are always there. And not only is it somewhere where I go for Shabbat dinner every Friday night, which is the best. We have free Shabbat dinners every Friday night. So that's something that I go to. I bring my roommates to. It's really part of our routine. And it's also somewhere where you can just go in between classes. If you have 10 minutes like to kill, pop into Hillel, one of your friends, someone new is always there that you can kind of hang out with. And it's very much like your home away from home on campus. And with that, I also wanted, with campus in general, Hillel was a huge aspect, Jewish life. I knew I wanted a campus where there was a decent Jewish presence and where there was a Hillel that was going to support me to go on Birthright, things like that. And I also knew that I wanted a campus that was very much a campus feel and not the city. And so Newark kind of allowed me to have that with everything with Main Street was there. So if you haven't been, we have a Main Street, which makes you feel like you're in you're in the town of Newark. So it helps you connect to the community of Newark, which a lot of people that live in Newark, the older people will come and eat at our restaurants, and you really get a chance to interact with the community in that way. But it also gives you this little bit of town where everything is easy to walk to, and you feel like you're in this big community. And I knew I wanted to be within close driving distance to my house, and also like to my home, and also close to Philadelphia, New York, DC. It's really an amazing place, even though you might think Delaware, like what's in Delaware, is very close to everything else. And there's so much magical stuff that happens in here. And we also have a ton of registered student organizations. Like Hillary said, we have, one of them is Blue Hens for Israel, which is run through our Hillel. And you're really able to find your place no matter what. And there's also a huge diverse population that goes to Hillel as well. With all those different registered student organizations, you will absolutely be able to find your place no matter what. And I absolutely love UD. I could go on and on forever about how much I love it here. And like I said, I'm an incoming junior, so I've had 2 years to really feel it out and make it feel like home. But from the second that you will step onto campus, I was when I pictured college, I was like, okay, I need a place where I can go to Shabbat dinner, but I need a place where there will always be people hanging out on the green and throwing frisbees like you see in the movies. And honestly, that is what it looks like on a normal day on campus. There are always people out. It is gorgeous. I came down to school this past week. I'm here right now, and I walked on the green, and it's kind of empty because it's summer and we're in a pandemic, but when you walk around, it still feels so home and such an amazing place, which is exactly what I wanted. And the fact that you have this little city without being in a big city is really so awesome. And I really can't picture myself anywhere else. And I could talk about it all day, but I'm going to turn it back over to anyone else.
Great. So we wanted to see, before we go and talk about the university in general, I've seen actually we already have one university question, which is great. Please keep them coming. But does anybody have any questions specifically about Jewish life on campus that we could answer? So rabbis and staff. So we do have one full-time rabbi, Rabbi Nick. He is just finishing up his second year on staff. Before that, he was actually a pulpit rabbi out in LA for about 4 or 5 years. And when he was in rabbinical school, he actually did a rabbinical internship at UD for 2 years. So for him, it was very natural to come back home. Okay, so if there aren't any other questions about Jewish life, which if you think of others, please feel free to put them in the chat. So the University of Delaware, it is an amazing institution. There's about 24,000 students. About 20,000 of them are undergrad and about 4,000 are grad students. The university was founded in 1743, so it is an old institution, which Lauren described. It is your red brick buildings with your huge white pillars. It is what you think of when you think of campus. And Main Street, like Lauren said, it cuts campus in half. Main Street is, while it's not technically part of campus, it feels very much. It is named as one of the best main streets in America year after year, which is incredible. And in that, there are over 150 majors at UD. And so you can be majoring in, I swear, every day when I talk to students, I learn about a new major that is at UD. Lauren said also there's over 400 registered student organizations. So it is an amazing way to get involved. Some of my favorite ones are the Peanut Butter Club, in which they taste different types of peanut butter at every meeting. There's also a squirrel watching club. There is a gluten-free club. There's a baking club. There's a gluten-free baking club. So anything that you are interested in, and if the university doesn't have it already, all you need in order to make a new organization is 3 friends. Everybody signs up and you can go from there. Somebody asked a question earlier about SATs for the class of 2021. SATs and ACTs have been waived for the class of 2021, so they are now optional. The university recognizes that this is a challenging time in order to be able to go and have those tests. So they are now optional. So if you are able to take them and you think it would help your chances, please absolutely feel free to. University of Delaware, one of the great things about it is that it's equidistant between DC and New York. There is an Amtrak station that is on campus. So an Amtrak train stops in twice a day. And there's also an Amtrak station in Wilmington that's about a 20-minute drive or Uber ride away that it is on the hour that a train is going through. The MARC train is also going to be extended to Newark into the campus within the next couple of years. It might even be before you come, depending on what year you're in. So it will be a MARC line that goes directly into Baltimore, which is going to be amazing for those of you who are coming from the Baltimore community, that you do not have to fight that 95 traffic, that if your child or you want to come home, you can get on the MARC train nice and easy and hop off at Baltimore. So it's an incredible, one of the biggest things at the university is actually study abroad. So the university was, UD was the first institution to ever have study abroad. So you can thank University of Delaware if you know anyone who has studied abroad. In the early 1900s, a professor actually took a group of men, male students, to Paris in order to have a study abroad experience. And that is what started the modern day study abroad. And so many students study abroad. Approximately 30% of UD students will study abroad at some time in their 4 years, including students like Lauren, which the most popular time to study abroad is actually over our winter session. And so our winter session, most winter breaks at colleges are 4 or 5 weeks. Our winter break is 2 months because it allows you to do things like study abroad. So you can go abroad for 4, 5, or 6 weeks. Lauren went to Buenos Aires this winter. Everything that I've heard, and she can tell you more about it, was amazing. She got, I think, 6 credits, Lauren, right? And got to travel around the country, learn, immerse herself in Spanish, stay with a host family, and just have an incredible experience. You can study abroad on 6 of the 7 continents. There used to be an Antarctica program. It's currently on pause, but maybe it'll come back, which I was like, how can I go on that? It was a photography program, but students can study all over the place. You can either study abroad for something that is specific to your major, or you can study abroad for something that just is interesting to you. So if you want to go to South Africa, great, go to South Africa. If you want to go to Greece, go to Greece. If you want to go to Thailand, go to Thailand. And the possibilities are really endless with where you can go. You can also study abroad for a semester, including if you wanted to be a part of the World Scholars Program. So the World Scholars Program actually has students, their first semester at college, you spend abroad. So you'll either be studying abroad in Spain, Australia, or in Italy for your entire first semester with a group of other UD freshmen. You come back, you stay on campus for the rest of your freshman year, all of your sophomore year, and then junior year, you'll go abroad again, either for a semester or as part of a winter session, which is just an incredible opportunity. Dining at the University of Delaware is really impressive. We have the largest dining hall on the East Coast. It is new as of, I think, about 3 years ago. It's called the Caesar Rodney Dining Hall. It's delicious. As a student who went to UD, they have upped their food game so well. It's a self-serve that has all different stations. So it has a dedicated gluten-free station that the chefs are making gluten-free meals. They have next to that a dedicated vegan station. They have a stromboli station. They have a carving station. And there's about 20 different stations in there, including a kosher station. The kosher meal plan at the university does not cost anything additional. It is unbelievable food. Anytime it's a meat meal, there is matzo ball soup. And the only way that you would know that it is kosher is they don't have reusable plates, because that would just be a kashrut nightmare. And so one of my favorite facts is more students eat at the kosher dining station every year than there are Jewish students on campus, because the food is just that good. And what's nice about it is if you keep kosher and your roommate or your friends don't, you can still eat together. There's many schools in which the kosher dining station is either at the Hillel or it's somewhere else in a separate meal plan. It's the same price. Or if you keep kosher style and you want to get something from there, but you also want to get something from the salad bar or from the vegan station or wherever it may be, it is all you care to eat, they say, not all you can eat, because they do not think that that always represents what we should all be doing. But it is really incredible. And that is one of the 3 dining halls on campus. Russell Dining Hall also is on East Campus. And then there is Penn Cater on North Campus, which was just redone. So the university has as well a South Campus with a brand new Star Campus. It is science technology campus, as well as somebody asked a question about pre-med. So if you are pre-physical therapy, if you are occupational therapy, any of those pre-medical type of positions and majors, you're going to actually be taking many of your campuses down on the South Campus, which is the Star Campus, as well. That's where the agriculture school is. It's where the football stadium is. And my favorite, it's where UDairy is, which UDairy is a partnership between the agriculture school and the hospitality school. We have one of the top hospitality programs in the country. And so they together, about 10 years ago, created a creamery that produces the most incredible ice cream, all sorts of flavors, and they just started producing cheese, which is also delicious, but it is a favorite. You will see it in the dining hall. We'll bring it to Hillel. It's incredible. So those are just a few of the facts about Delaware. We could go on and on and on, but I want to get to questions. So I'm going to start to answer some of the questions that are in the chat box. And if you have any other questions, general about UD, you want to hear from Lauren about more of what has been her experience with different things like that, please feel free to keep typing them in. So somebody wanted to know a little bit more about Rosh Hashanah, Passover, etc. So for Rosh Hashanah, for the high holidays, for Rosh Hashanah, we have a dinner both nights, and it is free. And then we have services. So we'll have a Reform and Conservative service. They're actually held in the Trabant University Center because our building is not large enough for 400 students who tend to attend the services. And so they are held. The university are incredible partners with us. They actually look at when Rosh Hashanah is every year, and we don't even have to submit request to hold the space, they just do it for us. We as well have break fast for Yom Kippur. We have all of the services for Yom Kippur. For Passover, the university actually shuts down their kosher dining station because trying to keep that kosher for Passover would just be a nightmare with how students come in and out. And so the university actually hands over the kosher dining to us for Passover. So we have a free lunch and dinner at Hillel every day for Passover. We kosher our entire kitchen, the meat and the dairy side. And it is a great opportunity. You can come, hang out, grab a meal. We don't do breakfast because college students tend to not wake up in time for breakfast. But if you are somebody who is keeping kosher for Passover, when you come to dinner the night before, you let us know. We send you home with some matzah, some hard-boiled eggs, some fruit, whatever it is that you're going to need for breakfast the next morning. We have seders the first and second night, both traditional and creative. So we'll do things like a game show seder. We'll do a women's seder. We have had a Disney themed seder, a Harry Potter themed seder. So all different types of things, but it is a great way in order to really, you know, not feel like you have to go home for the holidays if you don't want. There is an honors program. It is a great program. A lot of Jewish students are in it. One of the biggest benefits of it is you get one of the nicest dorms your freshman year, Reading Hall, which is an extremely nice new dorm. But somebody asked a question about housing. So Lauren, do you want to actually share a bit about freshman housing, upperclassmen housing, moving off campus, all that?
Sure. So I lived in Russell my freshman year, which is on East Campus, which is basically like the hub for freshman life, if you want to call it that. That's where like all the original old dorms are. So there's Russell, Harrington, Gilbert, and Reading, all these dorms right. And everything that sort of holds it together is our Harrington turf, where a lot of activities are held. And one of our student centers, Perkins, is also right there, pretty much in the center of all those dorms on East Campus. And I lived in Russell, so I had no air conditioning. And while that sounds kind of crazy, and you might think, oh my gosh, how am I going to live without AC? It was one of the best experiences of my life. And I'm not just saying that because you're all listening to me. It really is like we were forced to keep our doors open and really get to know people on our floor. Whereas there are also dorms on North Campus, which is our newer part of campus. Like Hillary said earlier, Main Street splits our sort of East Campus and our North Campus, where freshmen usually live. And on our North Campus, we have newer dorms that are suite style. So you would have a room and you would get your own bathroom. Whereas where I lived in Russell, I had a communal bathroom on the floor, which also was fun. Like you get to brush your teeth with your best friends. I think that was really a crucial part of my freshman experience. And then also with the honors program, you live on East Campus in Reading, which was right by where I lived. And that is a newer dorm, so that also has AC. So it's really a sort of a luck of the draw with where you're gonna live, but trust me, it all works out for the best. And living in the dorms is one of the best experiences I've ever had. And also to go along with overall school spirit, like someone asked, I am part of, like I said earlier, our student alumni ambassadors. And so not only does that allow me to communicate with alumni and keep them connected to the school, but we also host things like our I Heart UD Day and Homecoming Spirit Day, which are two of the best days of the entire year. So on I Heart UD Day, it celebrates all the philanthropy and everything that this school has done and everything that our donors give us. And basically everyone's just love for UD. And then Homecoming Spirit Day is kind of self-explanatory. It's our big hype up for homecoming weekend. And we use the whole green to decorate. We all rock our UD gear. We have UD SAAs like myself drive golf carts around the green, like cheering and yelling all day. It is so, so fun. And while our football team is fairly good for our division, however, we are not a huge football school. Like, it's not like we don't tailgate every weekend and have these huge football things, but people do still go to the games. I've gone to a couple, but it's not a huge thing. But our overall spirit is huge. Like, if you go to UD, you're never going to lose that spirit, and you're always going to find someone who loves UD. You're always going to find that sort of connection. And when it comes to also getting from one campus to another, because I just saw that pop in, everything is absolutely walkable. you really get used to walking when you live on a college campus. And I think that's true for any campus that is sort of the same size as us or bigger or even a little smaller. And I think we're the perfect size. So if you've ever seen, our green is very central to everything. And then our main street cuts it. And if you live on North Campus, it's going to feel like a little bit of a walk at some point, but you get used to it a lot. I would say that everything that you need to get to, whether it's class, your dorm, Main Street, is about a 15-minute walk. I would feel like that's a very good gauge of how long it's going to take you to get somewhere. And you get a lot of steps. You get really strong legs, and it is absolutely worth it because you never know who you're going to bump into when you're walking from one part of campus to another. And Hillary also said the dining halls there's one on North Campus and 2 on East Campus. So they're very central to sort of wherever you are. It's always going to be easy to eat, no matter what. And percent of students that live on campus.
So it's 100% of freshmen live on campus. 98%, you can get a waiver if you're within commuting distance. After that, it drops about 25% each year. So about 75% of sophomores live on campus, about 50% of juniors, and about 25% of seniors live on campus. Lauren, for those of you who came on the call early, you may have heard us talking. Lauren lives off campus. Off campus, though, is, again, at most a 15-minute walk. Many people live on Main Street that, like, their off-campus apartment is closer than some of the dorms to their classes, which is really nice. And Lauren was correct. The biggest difference that you're going to walk is about 15 minutes, especially between classes. That's the break time between classes because you can get from any 2 classrooms to each other within that time. The only difference is down on South Campus, but there's a great bus system that if you have classes on South Campus, you will learn how to use it very quickly. It picks up all over the place. It's free and it is great. Somebody asked a question about GPA and SATs. The average GPA is between a 3.5 and a 3.7, depending on the year. And the average SAT is between an 1170 and an 1200 in any given year. And then the average ACT is around a 26 or a 27 on any given year. So that is what it is. If you're looking for the honors program, you're going to have to be a little bit higher than that in terms of your SAT, ACT, or GPA.
Also, I'm not 100% sure about our history program, but I do know that, so you're required to take breath classes. So you're required to take a certain amount to graduate from the university, a certain amount of creative arts and humanities class, history and cultural change. And I know that any history and cultural change class I have ever taken has been fantastic. Our professors, like one of my favorite professors I've taken wasn't even in my major. He was a history professor and he was fantastic. Like I loved going to that class and I didn't even know, I was my freshman year. I didn't even know what I was signing up for. It was fantastic. And a lot of people also do a lot of their history credits abroad because I think that history courses provide a lot more opportunities to go different places. So whether you're a history major or sort of trying to get those breath classes in, a lot of people do their histories abroad, which that winter session is a fantastic time for it. It was the great break where I didn't have to miss anything on campus because it wasn't a whole semester, but I didn't have to be home sort of trying to find a job and doing whatever for a couple months. So that was great.
And I was actually a history minor at UD. I loved the history classes, like Lauren said. The university has all different types. And what's nice about the history classes is a lot of them are cross-listed with other majors. And so you could take a history class that's cross-listed with the African Studies department. You could take a history class that's cross-listed with the political science or international relations department, and psychology, whatever it may be. And the history requirements are all over in terms of history, US history, international history, all of that. So the calendar, what I like to describe it as, your fall semester is totally normal. You're going to move in and start classes the way that most Mid-Atlantic Northeast schools are, which is the end of August, begin very early September before Labor Day. That is going to go until the beginning of December. So usually your finals are going to be the first or second week of December. Then you have your 2-month winter break. After your 2-month winter break, then you're going to start classes. So that meant that this year, spring semester didn't start until February 10th, which means that you're not going, graduation and finals aren't until the end of May, early June. So that's the way that the calendar works. And I'm going to let Lauren, because she is so involved in Greek life, talk a little bit about Greek life.
Yeah, so like Hillary said, that winter session is fantastic. I came home and I was home for a week and then I went back to school, so it was a great buffer. But going on Greek life, I am involved in Greek life. I'm in Tri Delta, which is one of our social sororities on campus. What is great about our Greek life is that we have both social sororities and fraternities and also business, professional, community service fraternities. So it really caters to whatever you sort of feel. If you don't want to do social, but you want to do some sort of professional, or if you would rather do social. And we actually have 60 to 70% of Jewish students on campus are involved in Greek life. And then that is a total of 33% of undergraduate students are involved in Greek life. So it's not a make or break kind of thing. Like if you don't want to be in Greek life, you absolutely don't have to, and you will still find your place on campus and have an amazing experience. I have no doubt about it. But at the same time, that Greek life, I personally love it. I'm kind of biased, but it is also a great opportunity. So I am on the executive board of my sorority, which I love. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. And I still find a lot of time to do many other things. But I think my favorite thing about Greek life is that it really opens you up to so many people. Like a lot of friends that I have right now, I probably wouldn't have if it wouldn't have been for Greek life. And I think it's very easy to fall into those, I don't know about Greek life because of all the stereotypes you see, and we are absolutely not like that here. We do, at least sororities do value-based recruitment. So we are very true to yourself. Every sorority is friends with every sorority and fraternity. And then we also have special interest and community service fraternities and honors, which are all co-ed, or I believe they're all co-ed. And it's amazing because it's not only like Greek life social, it's Greek life, everyone supports everyone. And like when we have a philanthropy event, all the other Greek life comes support us and we go support everyone else. And it's really an amazing opportunity to get involved in on campus, but it's also not a make or break thing where you need to be in Greek life to have a social life on campus.
Great, and we got a question in terms of what is the makeup of the student population at Delaware? So about 10% of students are international students coming from all over the world, which has been really an incredible way to enrich the university. About 70% of the university identifies as white, about 8% as Hispanic, about 6% as Black or African American, about 5% as Asian, and then about 10% their ethnicity is unknown or has not been revealed to the university. In terms of out of state and in state, about 1/3 of the university is from in state of Delaware, about 2/3 are out of state. Jewish students wise, it is about 90% of students, Jewish students, come from out of state and about 10% come from in state. So you will be not alone if you are coming from out of state to UD. Many of our students are from the Baltimore, DC area, as well as New Jersey, New York, and the Philly area. We have a growing population from Massachusetts and Connecticut, as well as Atlanta and Florida.
I am an out-of-state student. I am from the Philly suburbs in Pennsylvania. And when I came down here the other day, it took me like an hour and 15 minutes to get down here, like an easy drive down 95. And there are a lot of students, like if anyone would be worried about it, like only being students from Delaware, it is absolutely not. I've never met more people from New Jersey and Long Island in my life. Like I didn't know there were that many people that lived in New Jersey. So it's great. I just got another question about Greek life. So for percentage on campus, like total undergraduate students, there are 33% of students are involved in Greek life, but 60 to 70% of Jewish students are involved in Greek life. And you can rush freshman year. So what we do is fraternities rush in the fall and the spring, and sororities only rush in the spring. And to rush in the spring, at least for sororities, you need at least a 2.5 GPA your first semester, just to make sure that you're kind of have found your way and are really getting integrated to the university okay. And rush process is different for every, for like fraternities, sororities, and then also for the community service, honor, special interest. And we also have multicultural sororities as well, or fraternities as well. But I rushed my freshman year. A lot of people rushed their freshman year. And it was really nice that we do it in the spring because it sort of gave me the opportunity to find my place and then find my place even more. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made to rush my spring semester freshman year. Absolutely.
And there's a lot of students who decide not to rush until their sophomore year, and that is not weird at all. And so it is, you know, some students will say, I want to see my full freshman year and then do it their sophomore year. And that is great. You're going to find that UD is a very non-judgmental school where everybody wants each other to be happy. And so you do not need to be involved with Greek life in order to have a life at UD. At some schools, you need that. At UD, many students are roommates with people in other chapters or who aren't even involved with Greek life. I will oftentimes guess because a group of students is hanging out. I'll be like, oh, they're all in the same fraternity or they're all in the same sorority. And then I find out and they're like, no, we're in 5 different ones and these 2 aren't involved. And so it's really not something the university pushes that students involved with Greek life, as Lauren said, you have to be involved in other things. And that is one of the incredible ways that it really makes the university and the students there much more well-rounded.
There are also people who, if you decide to rush your freshman year and then halfway through recruitment decide maybe this isn't for me, you can absolutely drop and rush again your sophomore year. There's no problem with it at all. It's not weird to rush. You can even rush as a junior if you wanted to. It's very open. And like Hillary said, we are such a non-judgmental school. We are very diverse in a way and love everyone. And like, I have so many friends involved in so many different things, and you learn so much about everyone on this campus that it is absolutely fantastic, especially at Hillel. Like, you walk in and there are people involved in so many different things that you wouldn't know if you weren't at Hillel, and then you meet all their friends who are involved in a million other things, and it's just like this spiral of amazingness.
That's how I'm going to describe the University of Delaware from now on, a spiral of amazingness. It'll become the new tagline.
Perfect. I love it.
Great. Are there other questions that we can answer for everyone?
I think we might be good.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in the chat box just in case anybody does have further questions or you want to follow up at another time. Great.
Awesome, thank you. And we will also follow up with everyone after this and send you Hillary's contact information and some other info. And like I said, this whole recording will be put up on YouTube. So if you want to share it with someone else who wasn't able to join us or you missed part of it, you can always check it out on YouTube. But I just wanted to really thank everyone for coming. I want to really thank Hillary and Lauren. You two are phenomenal and shared so much amazing information about Delaware. I'm ready to apply tomorrow.
Thank you. I also shared my email in the chat box in case you have any questions for me that you didn't get to ask, come up later. If you want a student perspective, you can always feel free to shoot me an email.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. We still have a couple more schools coming up on the virtual college road trip, so feel free to check out the schedule at roadtriptocollege.org. But I just want to thank everyone and Hillary and Lauren again. This was really great. So take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Lots of thank yous.
So nice.